Welcome to the Fantasy Forecast. I'm John Romero of the Washington Post. I'm here to deliver the fantasy football cheat sheet for Week 3 of the NFL season. You can reach me on Twitter and follow me for advice or send me questions. My handle is at John_J_Romero. Now, before we delve into my picks and notes for Week 3, looking back at Week 2, pretty nice run on my behalf, if I say so myself. On the fringe, those guys we were unsure about starting. J.J. Nelson was my recommended fill-in for John Brown, who I had been touting. He played very well. Devontae Parker and Jeremy Maclin certainly were viable plays, and I recommended against Sammy Watkins, and he had a quiet week. My best picks probably were the long shot plays last week, and that was Javorius Allen of the Ravens and Chris Carson. Both seem to have become pretty important elements in their team's respective backfields. Now, Week 3 awaits. Who do I have on tap this week? Well, we're going to start with Kelvin Benjamin. He's had a really quiet couple weeks, but you have the New Orleans Saints this week for the Carolina Panthers, and so you can't really sit Kelvin Benjamin when the Saints secondary has been so porous so far. So Kelvin Benjamin, definite play this weekend. Moving on, we've got T.Y. Hilton. Now, T.Y. Hilton has been rather quiet as well. With Andrew Luck out of the lineup, he hasn't done a lot. There are some out there who think he's worth sitting at this point, but against Cleveland at home, I think I'm going to give it one more week, and then he might become a matchup play. But for this week, I'm going to give Hilton a little more slack and hope it pays off in Week 3. Now, another guy I have on the fringe this week, I'm really not going to give you an answer you want to hear. Lamar Miller of the Houston Texans. The running back is seeing a lot of touches. He's playing a lot of snaps. But Houston's offense isn't very good. He has a quarterback that might vulture some TDs when they do get in the red zone. And Miller, he's not someone who is very exciting. Now, they face New England. He has a backup named Donta Foreman who is getting some touches and, has shown some flashes of making some plays. But I think it really is more a question for owners. Do you have the depth to replace Miller in the lineup? Do you have that capability? And some owners don't. And you got to take the touches if that's the case. The Patriots are not impenetrable. The Chiefs showed that in Week 1. So, if you need to play Miller, you could do worse. If you have someone you think can do at least what he's done and maybe give you something more, then, it might be worth taking a flyer on that running back. But for now, I can see the argument for and against. So that one is really on the fringe, and I hope my answer at least did something for owners out there. Yeah, you got to go with your gut probably on Lamar Miller this weekend. So turning our attention to the long shot plays of the week, I'm just going to throw out one guy this week, Rashard Higgins of the Cleveland Browns. He moved into the lineup last week with the injury to Corey Coleman. He ended up with 11 targets. He faces the Colts defense on Sunday. I think he's going to be a play not only this week, but potentially weeks moving forward. So that's your lottery ticket for the week. Rashard Higgins of the Cleveland Browns. I'm John Romero of the Washington Post. Again, my Twitter handle is at John_J_Romero. That's going to do it for the cheat sheet for fantasy football Week 3. This is the Fantasy Forecast. We hope to see you next week.